Okay, from a 1/26/12 email from Donna Moran. Hi, Mr. Argo. I'm contacting you to find out if you can give me some information on the school board's policy to deny incoming high school students to attend another public school. When we moved to Hooksett 9 years ago, we called the SAU office to ask about this policy because we were unsure of it. We wanted our kids to attend the Manchester schools. We were assured that if a student was accepted into another district, then Hooksett would pay the same tuition that they pay Manchester, and the parents would pick up the difference. I am unsure of why this is no longer a policy. My question to you is why. I would fully support the board's decision if there was a rational explanation. I've heard things like it's part of the Manchester contract and it will save Hooksett money to send everyone to Manchester. Both of those explanations do not make sense, and from what I've been reading in the paper, they're false. Talk around town, honestly, the debate is getting more and more heated, and it would be prudent for the school board to step forward at this point and explain themselves. I understand that there might be a hesitation on the school board's part to disclose information for fear of retaliation by Hooksett citizens who disagree. I know that there are times where officials have been accused of wrongdoing because of something said in meetings or written in letters. I'm not active in the politics in Hooksett, so I don't know if these instances were justified or not, but I would imagine that if I were on the school board or any other board for that matter, I'd be careful about what I said so that I was not off the mark. Every meeting is videotaped, and there is a lively discussion on the Hooksett Issues group. My opinion of this is that partly it's wonderful to see democracy in action, but my fear is that those on committees are nervous and are confused about what they should and should not disclose legally. I'm wondering if the board has a lawyer to help answer questions that taxpayers are coming to you with. I certainly don't envy your position, and I don't want this email to come as an attack. I'm simply confused. Could you or another member of the board please explain one of two things? Why has there been a change specifically? If there is a valid reason, can you please verify it? So if it's to save taxpayer money, then how will that save money? If it's because sending students out of district violates the contract, then how does it violate it? I cannot imagine that the board simply changed their mind without reason. If you cannot disclose the reason, could you please answer this one? Why not? Why can't residents receive an answer to this question? I'm not accusing the school board of supporting Manchester over Hooksett. Frankly, that doesn't make sense. If that were the case, there would certainly have to be a reason as to why the board is acting in that manner. I am just very confused and frustrated over why this issue has not been resolved. By not resolving it, the board is opening themselves up to attacks, hearsay, rumors, and speculation. Finally, I'd like to let you know, although my daughter will be attending Central next year, I fully support sending students to outside districts when the need arises. The main question has been that the students need a valid educational reason, and the reason that I would say applies to all Hooksett students is that the Manchester school system has been categorized as a school in need. That should be reason enough. Thank you for your time in working on the school board and answering my questions. I look forward to your response. I want you to disclose that I'm posting a copy of this email on the Hooksett Issues group, and will post your reply. If you have an email response you wish me not to post, please let me know. Enjoy your day, Donna Moran. The board felt that the previous review process, my response. The board felt that the previous review process for requests for students to attend a school other than that of record was not sufficient to satisfy the intent of the agreement with the City of Manchester. The board then directed the policy committee to review and present a revised policy for student requests to attend a school other than that of record. Current policy, JCP, is that policy. From a 2/6/12 email from Todd Lazat. Hello, Dana, I noticed the agenda. When was this posting voted on? Also, when did it get posted? What date? I must have missed it. And it is the posting for the open school board candidate. And then, who are the candidates? I hope nobody is thinking about appointing someone who is running as a candidate in the general election. My response is the posting for the school board vacancy is the standard posting utilized for such situations. That's all of the public comment.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I think you missed 5 questions that I submitted during the meeting regarding your deliberations. I presented a copy of those at the last meeting during public input. They were regarding questions about when you deliberated, statements that you had made in the paper. I don't have a copy with me tonight.
Well,
If you'd like to push it to the next meeting, that's
Yeah,
fine,
well-
but as long as you could, I can forward you a copy of it.
yeah, if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
Jane, may I address some?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. First, I was just wondering, for the question about the audio, obviously people are having a hard time hearing it, so I'd like to discuss that a little bit further. If we can do something, looks like we will, normally we didn't have many people coming to the meeting, so wasn't a necessary item. But if we think that that's something we want, either we can discuss it now, I'm proposing, or put it at least on the agenda for us to see what we can do for the audio for people to hear.
Do we currently have a PA system or speaker system that could be used rather than spending additional funds?
Do you want me to speak to that?
Yeah, please.
We don't have one specifically dedicated for this type of use. We have a small PA system for the music department. Whether or not that can be used for the meetings, something I could find out.
Jim?
I believe the town council is looking into broadcasting their events, and they directed the superintendent, no, excuse me, the town administrator to look into that, and I believe there's some information that could be valuable if we would ask Dr. Littlefield to contact them. I think in that setting, it's a council meeting, it's met in one. All the meetings are held at that time in the same setup. So clearly, there's an advantage over recording those and videotaping it. How would it work here with a chain? Because sometimes we meet over there and so forth.
Right.
So I think I'm certainly inclined to provide that, whether it's streaming or I was even in favor of public broadcasting. But it certainly wouldn't hurt to look at it and provide that. It certainly would require a different setup than that one that exists at the town hall.
I've put it down for next agenda. We'll talk about it at the end.
And I would also like to address the request about the forum. Like to, really address that. It really seems like the public wants that, and if we really want to do it or not.
I know you have, I know that was discussed at our last meeting, and it's actually an agenda item, so I don't know if you want to handle that now, Mr. Chair?
Oh, that's right, that is an agenda.
Oh, it is on the agenda. I'm sorry, I missed it then. So we can move it till...
So, yeah, if you wouldn't
Okay,
mind,
yep.
we'll
No,
hit it
I
at
missed it.
the agenda.
Okay. And I guess I just wanted to address all of these questions and comments more encompassing, because I think they're all asking the same question: why did we decide to do this? And I guess I'm going to just answer the question based on why I decided to do this. When it was presented to us that we make this change to the policy, I started doing my own research. The laws indicated to me that all children will go to the school within their district. I kept reading through those. Still wasn't very clear to me, so I moved on to looking at if there ever was a bill passed or attempted to be passed for school choice, and I did find SB 131. It was originally only for monies going to private schools, a voucher program. However, it was amended to include public school choice, which strongly indicated to me again that school choice is not something that we should be practicing. And that's part of why I chose this. When we got more opposition from the general public, I further looked into SB 131 and read through the testimonies and the speakers that spoke. One of the speakers was David Broderick. He was He's the chair of the State Board of Education at that time. This was back, I believe this was in 2000, for SPD. It was, date introduced was in 2005. I'm not sure when they met on that committee. It probably would have been after that. And his concerns were tax monies not to go to private schools. He also mentioned in here that he would be interested in us, in legislation to support public school choice. So again, that was another indication to me that this was not something we should be practicing. That the law, the intention of the law is that the children will go to school within their own district. It continued with another gentleman who is on the administration. Sorry, bear with me, I'm not a good public speaker. Mark Joyce, who spoke at that committee, and he was in opposition to the bill, and he was speaking on behalf of the New Hampshire's Administration Association and the New Hampshire Association of Special Education Administrators. And he just reiterated Mr. Ridrick's views that he did not want to see tax monies going to private schools, but that he would support any new legislation for public school choice. And therefore, based on all of these things, and the other thing that I started researching were, at the Department of Education, the hearings of people who were appealing the decisions made by school boards throughout the state for going to school outside their district based on the educational hardship. Then just reading through those, again, it just reiterated to me that this is not something that we're supposed to be practicing. And as somebody who's an employee of the town, I also understand that when we don't follow what the intentions of the laws are and our policies don't match up, it does put us at risk. And those were my reasons for doing this. It conflicts with my own personal interest. I would like for my son to have public school choice as well. But I really feel that my position here isn't personal. It is to do what is best for the town and for the school district. And that is why I chose to do that. And I'm just hoping that that has sort of clarified people's questions. I know I didn't specifically go through each person's questions, but I hope that that has helped. I think that's all that I have.
Anything else?
If I just make,
Yeah.
I believe I have said many times my thought process on this, and since I am the member of the policy committee, and referred to one of the last questions that Mr. Argo referred to, the board felt that the previous review process for requests for students to attend a school other than that of rec was not sufficient. And in a way, there was a question on, well, what does case by case mean? So that prompted a question from, I don't know where it came from school board members or public comment, that we needed to find out what case by case is. So that prompted the board, as Mr. Chairman indicated, to have the policy committee look at that. So we were trying to look at, well, what does case by case mean? And I looked it up, I should have brought it in. If you look in a definition of a case by case, it refers to a unique, actually if you look that up for me, but a unique, something that's unique to that case. So we needed to find out, well, what this case by case is, so we came, well, it needs to be established some type of hardship, which prompted, well, what's a hardship? Which prompted us to use, referred to Ed Rules 320, which refers to a more defined reason, as the chairman said, on what the policy should be. So we did present as a policy committee our recommendations, and we explained the reasons behind us thinking that this would meet the needs of the school district in addressing this issue. And beyond that, I'm not sure what, at this point, I can add anything else on that from the policy standpoint.
Tricia?
My question is more directed at Dr. Littlefield. Have we heard from Mayor Gatsis or Dr. Brennan on Mayor Gatsis' comments in the press?